All right, George, welcome to Queued Up. Everybody queued up, Q, of course, being quarantined here in these very strange times. Where are you and what are you and your family doing during all of this?
Well, we're down on a ranch in Marshall, Texas. And I told my family, boy, I had this place since 1976, and I've often thought it was just comfortable home, but what about family? Come to find out, the whole family is here now. So it was needed for that one moment in time.
Yeah, so, well, your whole family, that's a big family. So you've got a lot of
We're
kids.
all down. There's a lot of houses here, so everybody's separated, but at the same time, we're all together.
I mean, these are just such strange times. I mean, what's your take on all of this?
I'm just happy to be alive because I've often known that if you live, you're going to run into what is called strange times. It's just going to happen, and there's no way out of it. And I've been living 71 years, so that makes you understand. Never be surprised at what happened.
Yeah. Well, 71 years, and I want to, hit on a few of the high points of that. Just such a colorful career, colorful like your shirt we were just talking about before we went on. But, you are a native Houstonian, grew up in the Fifth Ward. Kind of take us back to that time. Just, what that time was like for you, your childhood, and some of your earliest memories.
Oh boy, when you think about Houston and Fifth Ward, the first thing come to mind. What was really strange and scary was Hurricane Carla. I can remember, in the house we were living in, and you look back, how in the world did we survive in that little house and that big wind? And then, of course, it was the happiest time of my life because a bicycle was a luxury that I didn't have, but every now and then a friend would let me borrow one. And so it brought forth happiness. Oh, and the taste of breakfast. Oh, and lunch, nothing like it. That's what I can remember about the childhood. You hear the stories about it was so tough and times were tough. You had to be tough, but that's almost vanished. It's the splendor of being a kid in Fifth Ward and lunch. Wow.
Well, isn't that amazing? Because, to your point, when you hear, you've got everything in the world now at your fingertips, all of, money, whatever. But you look back to those times when you had nothing and you say those were some of the happiest times of your life. You hear that time and time again. It's just kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, you happy. And at one time I remember I really got a lot of big bucks. I mean, many bucks, millions. And everybody asked me, how does it feel to be rich? Then I think back to Fifth Ward once. I got in trouble with my mom, and she had let me get away with it a few times because I would run away and she had to go to work or something. So I figured I was the fastest kid on the block. One day she decided, you've gone too far. And when I started to run away, she came behind me and I zigzagged like the football players. She zigzagged in the same way. I can't believe she's gonna catch me. So the best thing I could do was jump in a tree and climb, because we kids then had started to climb trees. And I said, she'll never catch me now. And thought I was in comfort, and next thing I know, my mom was shaking the tree. I said, you don't do that, Mom. She said, well, come down, young man. I can't believe she's shaking the tree. So when you think about wealth, the day that my mom could outrun me, and then she was stronger than I, shaking the tree, that was real wealth. Boy, and it all goes back to Fifth Ward.
Were you getting in a lot of trouble? Was she always after you?
I was trouble on her hand all the time. I don't know why, but my life leaned toward mischief. I was always the problem kid.
And so when did you start boxing? And did boxing start to change some of that?
Well, probably having a working mom in the lovely Fifth Ward. And she thought I was going to school and I was going shooting hooky. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't like school. My life was not going to be stuck in a classroom. I thought it was going to be forever. I didn't know it was only a certain amount of years you go to school. But I got in trouble after school, and next thing you know, the police were chasing me, and I was running from the police. And you look up, and you're 16 years old, and I was out of school. My mom gave me good talks and all of that, but finally I dropped out of school, and I heard about a Job Corps program. It was hyped by Jim Brown and the great Johnny Unitas, football players, quarterbacks, and running backs. And I went to Grants Pass, Oregon by way of the Job Corps. And it was all new to me. Out in the woods, there weren't any lights out there, and it was lonely. I was crying and homesick all the time. Finally, heard about a boxing program at another Job Corps center if I graduated from the Conservation Center. Went to Pleasanton, California, and joined the boxing team. First, I wasn't any good at it, but the boxing coach said, "Man, you could be an Olympic gold medalist if, you know, what is the Olympic? What are they?" But I stuck with it. Finally, I won a Golden Glove locally in San Francisco, and they qualified me for the National AAU for the Olympic trials. Lo and behold, I was an Olympic gold medalist. Impossible what can happen in a short period of time. I didn't want to be a boxer. I just wanted to be a street fighter so I could go back to Houston and show those guys what I could do. Next thing you know, I was stuck in it. Never had a street fight after.
I guess not. So take us back to those, you know, those Olympics. I mean, obviously it was something that you didn't just happen upon it. I mean, it wasn't your goal, but because of your talent and because of the path that you took, you ended up winning that gold medal back in 1968 in Mexico City. And I know, you know, we recently honored you at the Houston Sports Awards, inducted you into the Houston Sports Hall of Fame. And you said there that night that winning that gold medal, of all your moments, we asked you what was one of your most cherished moments, and you said it was that.
Yeah, I got on the Olympic team. There were 4 fights, and I remember how happy I was just to be on the team. And I'd even call my mom and say, you know, nothing else happened. I got my Olympic uniform, jackets and shirts. She said, well, that's nice, baby. Then I'd go on and on. Finally, I was in a bronze medal match. I said, if nothing else, I'm a bronze medalist. It just happened that one morning, I think for breakfast, maybe lunch, Bob Beamuth came through and he had this gold medal on his neck. And it was the most mysterious, beautiful thing. I said, wow, I sure would like one of those. There I am in a gold medal match. And I win it after 4 boxing matches. I'd gone up against a Russian opponent. This was the power back in those days, the superpowers. And I won the boxing match. They stopped it in the 3rd round and gave me the victory and got on that platform. And here come your flag coming up, and then they play your national anthem. It was like, it's just a dream. Sometimes now I think it's just a long dream. I'm gonna wake up and it didn't happen. But it was the first time a dream had come true to me. I had been told by one of my cousins, boy, go back to bed. She called me shooting hooky, go to sleep. I said, no, I forgot something because I was shooting hooky. She caught me getting ready to make truants. I was gonna lay back down, but I got embarrassed and left the house. But she told me, no one in this family ever becomes anything. I'm not gonna tell on you, just go to sleep. And on that night in the Olympics, standing on that platform, I could hear her voice and I laughed back. Not true. I'm an Olympic gold medalist, and nothing has touched that as an athlete for me to this day. A dream come true.
And you know that it's such an iconic picture, and that was your Hall of Fame painting in the Houston Sports Hall of Fame, was you holding that little flag. What is the story behind that little flag?
Well, in the Olympic Village, you see a guy who looks just like you, really, or someone in your family, a cousin or something, or a partner down the street, and you walk up to him and say, hey, and he speaks another language, he's from another country. And you start to think the only thing that differentiates us are the colors we wear. So you always walk around with your colors. So after the fight, the judges had been crucial. They'd been brutal. They would take fights, come to find out the international rules were cheat the Americans. That's what they were. So I put a small American flag in my pocket along with lucky beads, a lucky penny, and a picture of a girl I was courting. Well, I was courting, she wasn't courting me. Anyway, and I said, if I win, this is good luck. I'm going to wave the flag, and not understanding I don't think I'm going to win, but I won that thing, and I told them to give my robe to me, and I got the flag out. I said, now they're going to know where I'm from. They may not know me, but I got to show the colors to make certain they know where I'm from. So I bowed to the judges. We got you now. And I waved the flag. And that's what it was all about. I wanted to make certain everyone knew where I was from.
That's awesome. So as you start going in your boxing career, Sonny Liston was one of your sparring partners. How much of your style, or what did you learn from, what did you take from him? How much did Sonny Liston mean to you?
Before the Olympics, it got difficult for me to find big guys to spar and train with. And my trainer Doc Brodus came home one day and came to the center one day and said, look, I got a chance for you to work out with Sonny Liston and to spar with you. And I think that you need someone big in the ring to practice with. I said, okay. I didn't want that, but the opportunity presented itself. And he hired me, and I went down to spar with Sonny Liston. It was tough, but I made it through it. It made me so proud. I thought I could beat anybody now. But finally, after the Olympics, I'd won a gold medal. I chose Dick Sadler to be the trainer, my trainer and manager. And so I'd spar with Sonny Liston daily. And I had to learn, that was the only man that could truly, in my boxing career, who could stand up to me. I'd get in the ring with most guys and they were frail and they'd run away and they'd box or cover up, and not Sonny Liston. Ooh, I had to box him. So that proved to be a good experience for me, good confident builder for me. From then on, I thought I could probably beat anyone.
And you did. You mowed through them. And, you know, you were so known as one of the hardest hitters ever in the sport. And I'm going to throw a couple of comments from some of your opponents, and I want you to comment back to me on your thoughts on what they said. Evander Holyfield said that you hit harder than anyone he ever fought.
Oh, what a tough Evander Holyfield. Now, Evander Holyfield, people ask me about him. The guy was fast. He threw combinations. Then you look to hit him back, and it's like, where is he? Where is he? Then the only way you know where he'd be, he'd hit you 50 more times. And that was to hear him say that is amazing. I just couldn't get the right shot off at the right time because of the most fast heavyweight I'd been in the ring with.
Boom Boom Mancini said that you beat most guys before they ever even got in the ring.
Well, I wish they had jumped out of the ring before I got in there then. But I had to get in the ring and face those guys, and there were some tough ones. I can remember every fight, every punch, every round, most every city. And so each fight was a challenge for me, and they were tough. And when I'd win, I'd always say, how did that happen?
Ken Norton said when he stepped in the ring with you, he couldn't even look you in the eye.
Boy, too bad, because I remember getting in the ring with Ken Norton. I'd look across the ring, and this guy had muscles everywhere. He had muscles people didn't even know where muscles were. And I'm thinking, I don't want to fight this guy. But the fight broke out, and of course, I was fortunate enough to win, but he was one of the most built fighters I'd ever seen in the ring.
All right, let's go to your first championship. You were 37-0 at the time, I believe. You had 34 of those were knockouts. Joe Frazier in Kingston, Jamaica. Everyone thought Frazier would win. You had the height advantage. Take it from there.
Well, Joe Frazier, I saw Joe Frazier box for the first time. Closed circuit. He was fighting Buster Mathis, who was a big man. And Frazier was not all that big, ever. He never was that big. But he got in the ring and jumped on that guy, and no matter what the guy did to him, he's back on him like a termite or something. I kept thinking, man, never seen a machine like that. And finally, I don't know, maybe the 10th round or so, he knocked Buster Mathis out. And I said right then, I don't ever want to fight that thing. That's something I don't want to be bothered with. I hope he dies. But I wanted to be champion, but I didn't want to be bothered with Joe Frazier. But as things would go on, I became #1 contender. He beat Muhammad Ali, and I was the next in line. He had to fight me. And I remember being afraid, going up the steps, so nervous, knees shaking. And here comes Joe Frazier, his head moving. And I said, there he is. I kept thinking in Kingston, Jamaica, maybe there will be a storm here. Maybe the ring will fall. Maybe it'll start raining and I won't have to fight. But nothing happened. I had to get in that ring and I had to fight Smoking Joe Frazier. Can you imagine someone being called Smoking? That means there's going to be a fire started somewhere.
Yeah, well, and you did. I mean, and down goes Frazier. I mean, those words live on in infamy. I mean, you put him down. I don't know if you hear Howard Cosell's words at those times. I know you've heard them a million times since, but you're now the heavyweight champion. What's going through your mind?
Well, I didn't hear those words, but I remember when I knocked him down the first time, I knew from experience that, and I'd seen Frazier, if you hit him, he only, he likes it. And I thought, man, I knocked him down. What did I do that for? Then he gets up. I said, I better knock him down again. I said, you really messed up now, George. Oh, you messed up. And so I just kept knocking him down. Then they called the fight off. After 6 times, they crowned me heavyweight champion of the world. But I kept thinking, Joe Frazier, I knocked him down, but he got up 6 times.
But so what did that mean to you at that point? Here, you described the feeling of winning an Olympic gold medal, but for you, that kid from the 5th Ward, to have that belt, the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, it was a lovely experience because we all knew once you become heavyweight champ of the world, you're able to buy anything for lunch and breakfast you want. And that's what I thought about. I got it.
It keeps going back to breakfast and lunch. That's something. So, okay. So then, let's go. I mean, I could talk about a million things with you, but I know we don't have all day on this, but the Rumble in the Jungle, 1974, a very different fight in Zaire. I know it got delayed by about 30 days, which probably had some effect on it. You had a cut over your eye that probably, I don't want to speak for you, but I know changed up some of the rhythm. But what do you most remember from that fight with Muhammad Ali and that era and that time?
Yeah, going to Africa, that was great because the people from Africa had come to my home. I was the champion of the world then and tried to convince me to bring the title to Africa. And I said, well, they were so nice and so kind. They even asked me to bring my dog with me and all that, the nicest I've ever felt. So I went to Africa to fight what I felt would be the easiest boxing match in my life. Here was a guy much older, and I could punch, and I'd knocked out everybody he'd ever faced, it seemed. So I thought this is going to be the easiest time of my life. So once I got the injury there and the knockout occurred, I thought, I don't care. I don't need anything. I can beat him. It doesn't matter.
That didn't happen.
Well, I mean, the fight started, and I thought, easy. He hit me a couple of times, but it was like, shoot, fly, don't bother me. You know I got to knock you out. And I went after him every round, boom, 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 boom. And it really got tough. I think maybe the 6th or 7th round, I said, I finally got him. I hit him in the side, and he fell on me. I said, ah. And he fell on me and right on my ear and said, tell all you got, George. Then I realized this is something different. It wasn't going to be so easy after all. And then in the 8th round, I was coming after him. He missed me with one shot, and I fell and turned around to face him. and he hit me with the most fast 1-2 I'd ever received in my life. So fast, I didn't see it, but boy, was it fast. Knocked me down, and I thought, I'd get up in a minute here, then I'm really gonna get him. I got up, ref called the fight off, and I was no longer the beloved, I no longer had my beloved championship of the world at all.
How did you take that at the time? I mean,
when I lost that title, I was devastated because I wanted to be champion of the world so much. And then to lose it, it devastated me for many, many years.
And how did you come back from that?
Well, they matched me with Ron Lyle in Las Vegas, Nevada. I thought he was a puncher, but I said, I got to beat everybody to show them, look, that was a fluke. I'm still the champion. So I go to Las Vegas to fight Ron Lyle. And he was a puncher, of course, but I was going to box him and let it go. The next thing you know, I'm on the canvas. I said, wow, what excuses can I come up with now? The ropes are loose. They put something in my drink. I had all kind of excuses. I said, they're not going to believe this. So I had to get up, and I beat him up a little bit. And next thing you know, I'm down again. I'd never been hit that hard in boxing, never. That someone would just knock me down, and just like I was a piece, maybe a rag or something. But I got up. I said, it's easier to get up and maybe lose my life than to try to explain to my friend and the media type some excuse. So I fought and fought. Finally, I fought him so hard that he fainted, and I won the boxing match. That's the way I won that fight.
So, and then I know there's
But I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, but I recovered for some reason. That little self-esteem and all of the things that troubled me at night, trying to get up in time for that fight, the excuses, they all went away. I was free. Got all the skeletons out of the closet. I was George Foreman again. I got up, and that meant everything to me. From devastation to, I don't know, what is a good word from that? Anyway, I was the guy I wanted to be again, redeemed.
Well, and a couple things on that. I mean, it seems like to me and I don't want to go totally off track here, but it almost seems like there's two George Foremans. You know, the young George Foreman that seemed like you were just mean, and sometimes you see that in you, and then over the years, and I don't know if that's when it changed with the George Foreman grill or whatever, but you became and I think in the boxing world too, just a people's champion almost. You became so much more liked, and your personality seemed to.
Well, I had a really experience in 1977 that really changed me. You know, I'm a minister to this day, the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a preacher. That's what I am. And I'd go out on the street corners and talk to people about God and how life-changing it could be to find that experience. And the next thing you know, I'm telling my kids, sit up straight, put a smile on your face. Nothing is that bad. And I started to buy the same product I was selling. I sold to them to be a good person, be a nice guy, and I learned in the same time, never a punch in anger. And I had a lot of anger. That's why I left boxing for 10 years. I'd lost the anger. Just didn't have any anger anymore. But then I realized you could be a professional, a good professional boxer. All you needed is to undertake it as a job. Forget about trying to hurt someone. And I learned that, now I tell my kids, you may not be the most fast kid in class or the most best runner or jumper, but you can always be the nicest human being. And I explained that to them. And that was my goal from that point on.
Well, at that time, of course, you made multiple comebacks. I think after a decade of being out in 1987, you were for your second comeback. And in that time, was that, and I'm not sure of the timing, had you already launched the George Foreman grill at that point for that second comeback?
No, for 10 years, I didn't box. I didn't do anything. I was mainly an evangelist, of which I still am. And that's all I would do, is dedicate my time to preaching. For 10 years, I didn't even make a fist. or nothing. But at the same time, I lost all my friends. And I found out that could be a lonely place. And I started to cook at home, cook. Next thing you know, one or two people came by. What you got? After a while, I'll cook so much, people loved me. They said, got any more fish? Got any more ribs? People liked my cooking. And for 10 years, that's who I was, old George with something to eat. And then after my comeback and recapturing the title, we launched the George Foreman Grill. And that was sometime after. Then people know me, even to this day, seem to know more about the George Foreman of the George Foreman Grill than the boxer. I've heard people trying to explain to their children, you know, he was the boxer, he was the champion. And they said, no, that's the cooking man.
Yeah.
Most people grew up knowing me and had got college degrees and everything, knew more about me as the grill person than the boxer.
Yeah, that's just crazy. So when you came back, and I think your second comeback, well, you fought Holyfield, which you talked about that in 1991. I think you were about 42 years old. Didn't win the fight, but really proved to people that yeah, he still got it. Evander was 28 at the time, but that's when you then had a chance to reclaim that title again against Michael Moore. And what are you, 45 years old at that point?
Yeah, that's strange. It was November, and the following January, I would have been 46. But I'm in the ring with the champion of the world at 45, and everybody thought not going to happen, shouldn't do it. And all of a sudden, the odds were against me again in the same fashion as it had been with Joe Frazier some years earlier. And the fight had gone some savage 10 rounds, but at the end, I was the heavyweight champion again.
I mean, and that's crazy. I mean, people have said that is probably, you know, the most incredible feat ever to reclaim or any title at that age. You had confidence in yourself. I mean, do you agree with that statement that was probably one of the most athletic feats ever to be accomplished?
Yeah, there's some things that can happen when you're an athlete and everybody's prepared for you to, but it's always strange. For me, being told I can't do it has been part of my life anyway, but it didn't bother me that much. But I think it made a difference in sports because now guys come back at any age and they prepare and people start thinking maybe he can do it only because of that fight with Michael Moore. That the age 40 and 50 is not a death sentence as an athlete at all.
Well, and I just recently saw some video of Mike Tyson. He's still training. He's still working out. And I don't even know how old he is, but to your point, but here you are, 71 years old now. You still train at all? Are you still in shape?
Yeah, I'm still in shape. I work out and everything, but my shape is trying to make certain I stay out of the left kicks from my grandkids. Not left hooks, but left kick. So I'm really just keeping myself in shape to avoid the devastation from my grandkids.
Yeah, I know those grandkids. I've heard some of them running around out there, and I know I've asked you this before and you've answered it a million times, but I want you to tell the people who maybe have not heard the story, you know, you've got such a close family, a great family. I've had a chance to, you know, get to know Leola, your daughter, but all your boys, so many kids named George. Explain the story there.
It's strange though, because we had one George and the next time I said, well, what will the next one say? Why didn't you name me George? So I had three Georges, us three. Then another came. I was always wanted daughters. I love the daughters because they spend time with you, they look after you, and they just seem to love you. And had another boy. I said, well, we better name him George too, because he's gonna feel for some reason he was left out. And it just went on and on. But I really wanted to give them something that they could all hold on to. And I tell them all the time, if one does well, we all do well. But if the opposite, one falls, we fall along with him. And your name is what you need. So I think the name George Foreman keep us together, makes us one. Sometimes I look up and get upset and think, well, he is George. And everything can be bypassed. Check that, Lily.
Well, it's interesting because your family, you guys seem so close. You're all kind of quarantined up there together. And when I hear you tell that original story about when you were a kid and the way that you grew up and hearing, no, none of the Foremans are ever up to be anything. And yet the way that the message that you pass on to your family is so entirely different. I mean, I'm proud of you for that. You've got to be proud of the family that you have and how that has sort of transpired.
Yeah, the most lovely thing in the world is the family I've had. You ask me, George, what have you gotten out of this? The whole George Foreman trip at all. And I think tell you the most valuable asset are my family. There's something you can't erase, you can't lose. And no matter what, you're close to them, even in your dreams and your nightmare. Everything is about your children and your grandkids. And so, and then my wife, of course, who rules the roost, she's here, and family is everything. It's not some of it, it's everything.
Yeah, amen to that. So you go out on the street and you mentioned the George Foreman grill and how you get recognized when you're out there and people see you. When they come up to you, is it all about being the champ? Is it about, hey, lean, mean, fat machine? What's it like out there for you today?
It's a privilege for me too, because remember, I had 10 years out, and after about 3 years, no one knew me. I had cut my beloved afro off, my mustache, everything was gone. I was just this big guy with overalls hollering, "Thank you, Jesus." And they were like, "Who is this guy?" And they passed me by. I knew what that was all about. And so I went years with nobody noticing me. And I went to a Houston Rockets game. I think Ralph Sampson had just been drafted. And I went to see that tall kid. And someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, I know you." And I thought, I was so proud. They said, "Refrigerator Perry."
Ah,
Refrigerator Perry. And I thought, man, I am gone. So when I got a second chance to get back in boxing, people walk up, "Can I get your autograph?" I was like, I'm gonna love this until the end this time. I love being recognized and being asked for an autograph. I love it. I'm not Refrigerator Perry.
absolutely not. And it's been such a crazy, wild ride. You're a World Boxing Hall of Famer, an International Boxing Hall of Famer, and, a Houston Sports Hall of Famer. And of all those things, you said when we inducted you into the Houston Sports Hall of Fame that that's the one that means most to you. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like it. Is that true?
Yeah, because I left Houston, Texas. I wanted to be yeah, I left Houston, Texas as a boy. I left. I said, "No, I'm going to the Job Corps. I think maybe I want to be a football player. I wanted to do something with my life." And then when I made the Olympic team, all the media was there with us daily. And finally, I asked them to find me the local newspaper in Houston. I said, and tell them that George Foreman had made the Olympic team, but they're not going to know you by George Foreman. Know me by George Foreman. Tell them Monkey, Big Monk. That's what they used to call me when I was walking the street. Tell them I made the Olympics. In other words, it was Houston that was important to me. I wanted Houston, my place, where my home, to know what I had done. And I never expected to receive an award locally like I had. And that was the award I'd been seeking all the time. And I finally got it.
Yeah.
George Foreman, Houston, Texas.
Incredible. So all that you've accomplished and all that you've done in your career, and now you're spreading the word, you're preaching, you're doing what your heart tells you to do. Is there anything that you want to still accomplish, or how do you want to be remembered when it's all said and done?
Oh, it's not about being remembered anymore. Like I said, I got that Houston award. I'm set. I'm set, they call it. That's all. What do they say? Such and such Jack. And that's right, Jack, or something. But the point of it is, I got what I wanted. I just like to go on and live a happy life, watching my kids grow up, Just that being remembered is for someone who want to be remembered. I like today. I enjoy today.